Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel, The Indian Lawyer Legal Tips. I'm Sarthak Kalra, Senior Legal Associate at the Indian Lawyer and Allied Services. Today we'll be talking about AI, which has such a huge emergence in our legal profession, and specifically with respect to the drafting, the case research, the document submission before a court. And to know more about this, we have our Chief Legal Consultant, Mrs. Sushila Ram Varma, and I welcome you, ma'am. So, ma'am, today I'll be wanting you to discuss about the positives, the negatives, and broad view to our advisor. So, I'll start with the first question, ma'am. So, ma'am, how do you see the trend of lawyers using AI, and how do they use it for their drafting and pleadings?
Sathar, for the legal industry, I think AI is like a miracle. The reason I say this is because law as a profession is very, very voluminous, very tiresome, and it takes ages for us to actually go through documents and to go through the law, to go through the case law. So now, you guys are so lucky. Now a tool has come which can actually generate so much of information so quickly. But while I say this, I want to just caution all viewers, and especially people who are in the legal profession, remember that AI is only a tool. It cannot substitute you. If it could have substituted you, then you are not required anymore in the system. So please be very careful when you are using AI and use it as a tool, that is, as your assistant. Now, on the positive side, I would say it can generate a lot of information in a very quick or a very short time. It can cut through piles and piles of documents again in a much, much shorter time than a team of lawyers would be able to do. It can also extract important judgments for you. It can also take out important paragraphs for you. It can help you to understand certain articles that would have some relevance in your industry. Remember that all of this should be used with caution and only after it is verified. So the legal profession is not only about producing pages. The first and foremost exercise that any lawyer has to do is legal reasoning. And this has to be done with responsibility and with professional accountability. The moment you begin to rely on an output which is mechanical, believe me, you're finished. So I would like to say that the moment you begin to rely on AI, be sure about the accuracy and truthfulness. Be sure about the fact that you are losing your skill because you are not doing your work, you're handing it over to somebody else. You are professionally accountable. Even if a machine has done it for you, you are still accountable because you are the professional. And most importantly, the research, the drafting, everything that has been done can only be used if it is cross-checked or verified.
Ma'am, in a way, at the end of the day, when we are submitting our work, it's our face who is presenting the work. And ma'am, that as lawyers, we are discussing this, and I know that a lot of lawyers have been discussing this, but now I believe that even this discussion has reached the courts.
Yes.
So, ma'am, courts have actually pointed out about all these AI use of AI in the pleadings. So, ma'am, do you think it's very serious?
Absolutely. In fact, I'm glad that courts have started looking into this in a very serious manner. In fact, the Bombay High Court, in a recent case called Mr. Deepak versus Heart and Soul Entertainment Limited, actually pulled up the lawyers who had used artificial intelligence and even fined costs or imposed costs of rupees 50,000, which to my mind is still on the lower side. And then there is an Andhra Pradesh High Court also, which in another case pulled up the lawyers when they had misused AI. Now, what I personally feel is that you use AI if you have to. But remember, in the use of AI, there is something called AI hallucination. Now, hallucination per se means that it is imagined. So, similarly, when AI is collecting database from all across the digital world, there are times the AI cannot think like a human mind and it will hallucinate. Now, if you are going to become a victim of that hallucination, you have to be very careful, right? So that's the reason you have to cross-check everything, verify everything. And if you are going to go to court and give the misleading information that you think is correct, obviously you are in deep trouble.
In fact, ma'am, there is a way that I have safeguarded myself from the hallucination part that you mentioned. Ma'am, what we do is that once we read a judgment, if we are reading it not thoroughly but we are using AI, we should be at least verified in a way that we know that the words that have been mentioned by the AI it is actually there in the judgment. First thing. Second thing, once we get to know the gist of the judgment, we get to understand, okay, yes, this is actually the correct gist, because from what the provisions have been stated, the kind of punishment that has been given. And ma'am, one thing that while we study any law, we get to see that there are aspects of it where it hasn't emerged in the society yet, so we use the existing laws to it. And similarly with AI, ma'am, because there's no specific AI law as of now. So, ma'am, what are the laws that are currently in use for governing AI misuse?
See, Sarthak, we have two types of laws. One is the general law and one is the special law. If a special law is framed for any particular law, like for instance IT or anything, criminal procedure law, then in that case that special law will apply. But if there is no law, then you will fall back on the general law. Now, in this particular case, I would say the general law is the law by which lawyers would be bound would be the Advocates Act, because the Advocates Act 1961 sets down the rules within which we have to work, how we have to conduct ourselves, what is it that we have to do, and what happens when we misconduct ourselves or we are guilty of professional misconduct or some disciplinary action is taken against us. So that's the first thing that we have to be watchful and worry about. And there are times people's licenses have been suspended. So that's the first. The second would be the criminal law, which in this case would be the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita. So if there is fraud or there's forgery or there is cheating, then obviously those particular aspects of the law will apply.
Ma'am, I'm sure a lot of young lawyers like me would get nervous when we get to hear that a lot of criminal offenses may be pulled against us if you are using AI in a bad sense.
Absolutely, because fraud is one of the things you have to be most careful about. Maybe cheating may not be there so much, but fraud can be. You can be liable for fraud, and you can also be liable for forgery. So these are the things you have to be very careful. Then you have something called the Information Technology Act, which is an act of 2000. This act also has very stringent provisions, and if you propagate false material or you tamper with computer source code or there are offenses which are deemed to be cyber offenses, believe me, you are in deep trouble. Not only is the punishment very harsh, it can go into several years, but the fines also run into lakhs of rupees. So this is supposed to be the biggest deterrent when you are misusing facilities on the internet. So, Sarthak, there's another law which is called the DPDP Act in short, which is actually a full form for Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. Now, when there are AI outputs that misuse personal data, for instance, deepfakes of people, unlawful processing of their personal data, or creating synthetic evidence, the DPDP Act will come into play. And believe me, the punishments under this act are also very stringent. And the government has emphasized time and again that misuse of personal data for deepfakes or non-consensual use will attract very stringent provisions, and I hope viewers you are aware of this. Apart from that, you will also have to consider one more aspect, that is the evidence law. Now, Indian Evidence Act requires that documents and electronic evidence be verified for authenticity. But if you have given an AI generated document, it cannot be traced to an identifiable source. So there is no admissibility. You must always bear in mind that this is another important aspect as a lawyer. And lastly, I would say you should also be watchful about the fact that there are many regulatory and administrative authorities that also come into play, because you have the Bar Council, you have the registrar, you have the police, and then you have the different high courts, and in the high courts you have so many committees. So all these also are watchful, and now because AI is being misused, there are more and more stringent provisions that are coming into play.
Ma'am, now that you have cautioned our young lawyers as to the repercussions of misusing the law, so we'll be very careful about that, ma'am. But ma'am, I'm sure that there are a lot of positive aspects of AI as well, and I would definitely would want you to share with our viewers what are the positive aspects of AI.
Well, AI as a tool definitely has a lot of beneficial uses, but those uses must be done only when you understand how to use AI. Don't go blindly into following what the AI does. Take a short session or take a short tutorial either from the internet or from one of your colleagues and understand How should I use AI? Don't think just putting the documents, uploading the documents and telling the AI generate a first draft for me is enough. No,
Right.
you should understand how it should be generated. So I would say it's beneficial as an assistant because document and research becomes much easier. You can go through piles of documents in a much shorter time. Then drafting of the first cut is another thing because you get a skeletal draft in which you can flesh it out with more information, more evidence, more documents,
In
etc.
fact, ma'am, that base saves us a lot of time.
Absolutely, absolutely, but not necessarily that it's the correct way.
That's true, ma'am.
Then knowledge management is also another thing. Like if you want to check several databases, it helps you to cut through that. And if it's a large firm and there's a lot of documents that have to be retrieved in a very quick and fast manner, then obviously AI is the answer. Also, client automation is another aspect that we can look at. The AI can help to generate, reminders. It can help to generate bills. It can help to schedule meetings, and there are many other things. It can also keep a record of which lawyer has done how much work. But ultimately, AI cannot detect if there is a discrepancy.
Right.
So that is something. The quality control is something that the lawyer must do, and the lawyer must double check. So I'm repeating myself: verify, verify, verify. Do not take what the AI says on the face of it. Check, and only when you're sure, definitely use it.
And basically, as young lawyers, we should use it as a tool. We should be AI savvy, but we should keep in mind that ultimately it's a tool that's going to help us and not replace us.
Absolutely. In fact, very well said, Sathar. Because if AI is going to replace you, then obviously you're not required in the system. And we have already seen that AI has led to the loss of jobs in several sectors. Very sad, and we don't know how those people are going to run their homes, but they have been replaced. So I think the lawyer is one profession that where people should be very careful about AI replacing them. In fact, one should take adequate and I would say cautious steps to ensure that the intellectual mind is always considered far superior than what a mechanical mind like an AI can do. So, having said that, I would say that yes, dear lawyers, dear friends, dear viewers, definitely use the AI, but always verify. It doesn't matter which profession you are. Never let the AI be the final author. If you have used AI, be transparent. Inform your seniors or inform, even if it's you have to give a bibliography, inform the readers that look, I have taken it from AI. And whenever and wherever possible, please cross check all the information. Use AI as a force multiplier, not a replacement for legal training and thinking.
Ma'am, I'm really glad that as such a senior lawyer that you're not against AI, because a lot of seniors are like this is against us. But the fact that you're telling us that yes, we should learn it because learning for lawyers never end. We have been learning new laws, so this is a tool that we have to learn.
Absolutely.
So that's also a good thing that is getting us into the positive aspects of AI.
Absolutely. But Sathak, like I said, the human mind is the most superior. You have to learn that AI should not replace you. So, all young professionals, please understand that you have to do the hard work that everybody has done. You cannot escape hard work. If you want to become a success in life, one of the key factors is hard work. Yes, luck plays a big role, intelligence plays a big role, but without hard work, believe me, you won't get it.
So, ma'am, now that we have mentioned about the positive aspects of law, what comes to my mind is, ma'am, if a young lawyer like me and he used AI and that actually went haywire and a false submission was made before the court. So, ma'am, what are the legal repercussions of that?
See, mistake is not deemed to be an excuse in law. We all know that, right? So I would say the first thing that you have to be very careful about is, like I said, you have to verify.
Right.
If you've made a mistake, you have to be open to being, ridiculed in court if you've done it in court, or you can even be ridiculed amongst your peers. Your clients can think nothing of you. So that I think loss of reputation I think is the biggest thing that a lawyer will have to face. Apart from that, of course, the costs. Then there will be admonition from the court. If you go and say something wrong to a judge and say it's AI related, you've had it. Apart from that, you can also be sued by Your clients and the Bar Council of India can take disciplinary action, which is another very serious thing. Then there can be criminal investigations if you're involved in serious offences like fraud, cheating, forgery, and apart from anything else, you can also be liable to contempt of court or perjury if you've given wrong information. That's another thing, especially if it's done on affidavit. Adverse judicial outcome for the client, which would be disastrous for you as a lawyer because that's not something any client would be happy about. So, but ultimately, I would say the most important thing is you lose your credibility. And once you lose your reputation, believe me, no matter what you do, it doesn't come back. It's like a mirror. Once it cracks, no matter what remedies you take, it can never come back to a hold.
I remember one time you taught me that a lawyer takes decades to build his reputation, because ultimately it's the reputation, it's his image, it's his work that brings him forward. And if we are spoiling it just because of some laziness, that's going to cost us our whole career, ma'am. So as lawyers, ma'am, it was really helpful for us to know that we have to work it in a way that we are using it as a tool and not replacing ourselves.
Absolutely. Like you said, work smart with AI. Don't give the entire work to the AI and just sit put. Work with it in an intelligent way. Work with it in such a way that you can verify all the information. Technology is inevitable and also very useful. AI is definitely very useful, but don't let it become a substitute for legal education, for your own conscience. Don't let it become a substitute for your hard work. Don't let it become a substitute for your thinking mind. Ensure that you use it in the correct way and you use it in such a way that you will be able to uphold the truth, which is what you as an officer of a court is supposed to do. And that, my dear Sarthak, is non negotiable. And I would advise everybody, if you can keep these points in mind, definitely go ahead and use AI.
Ma'am, that was quite insightful. And I'm sure, ma'am, from tomorrow, I'm never going to use the term that, ma'am, it was done by AI, because ultimately it's us who has to own up to it, and we have to verify it. And I'm sure that a lot of our viewers got a huge insight from this, because I know a lot of us, not just lawyers, people from other industries as well, have been using AI, and just to know how the law works, because law is same for everybody. You are bound by what you're saying. So I'm really thankful for on behalf of all our viewers, ma'am, and myself, that we got to learn from you about all these aspects of it. And to our viewers, I would like to say that if you really enjoyed this video, I would appreciate if you could share this video and like, and also subscribe this video, because I know a lot of viewers have been watching our videos but they're not subscribing. That would be really helpful for the firm to present more such videos. And I'm sure that we'll be bringing our viewers a lot of similar legal topics. And for more such videos, stay tuned. Thank you.
Thank you, viewers.